I am so tired of coming back to empty blackness. I'm so tired of being in the fucking dark. My son's passed out in the back. We've been driving around all day. Didn't really get to charge up the devices, but y'all know the drill. On the way in the door, we've got our flashlights. I've got my pew-pew. And we're gonna get in this house.
Yeah, it's probably, and that's the thing, when it's no power, now you gotta worry about pirates. Gary, Indiana has spent nearly 2 weeks dealing with one of the worst power outages in the country. So the question is not whether something went wrong. Something clearly went wrong. The questions are, why did it take so long? Was race ignored? And does race have anything to do with who got left waiting?
You're taking a look at Renee Vaughn's home. In most circumstances, it would be unusual to see a tree toppled on her roof, but today it has become the norm because it's looked this way for at least 9 days now. Damn. Now, Renee invited us inside her home. You can see it's pretty dark if it wasn't for our camera. Renee lives here with her adult granddaughter, and that's been a huge help because Renee has a number of health problems. Her dislocated arm means she can't power up the generator. Her weak heart means she should not be stressed. We'll get more into that in just a bit. But since Tuesday's storms, her granddaughter has been busy running errands for the family and their elderly neighbors, charging up her phone in the car. The nights are no less difficult because the women in the house are staying up to watch for anything suspicious in the dark.
I'm steady trying to watch and see and make sure nobody's trying to break in somebody. Because if I hear something, then I can go to that window real quick and see. Because cars come up and down the street, and they be stopping in the middle, and I'm like, I just saw you. Let me jump up and see if anybody's trying to do anything. Because this one I can see only, you can see this. I can only see so far down the street.
Your doctor told you not to get stressed.
I have no choice.
How's she supposed to do that? Now imagine somebody telling you in the United States of America, in the year of our Lord, 2026, that you'd be going 10 to 12 days, no heat, no electricity, food bad, spoiled, kids bad, no tablets, can't plug into nothing, hot in the summertime. You happen to be in Gary, Indiana. I feel like I've heard of this before. Flint, New Orleans, Memphis, crack. All right, before we get into anybody's conspiracy theory, anybody's politics, or anybody's racial argument, let's establish what we actually know happened. On August 11th, a massive derecho ripped through northeast Indiana. The wind gust around Gary reached roughly 99 miles per hour. Trees came down, poles came down, transmission equipment was damaged. At the height of the event, more than 300,000 NIPSCO customers lost electricity, and Gary became one of the hardest hit cities in the entire service territory. And we're not talking about 3 hours. We're not talking about overnight. We're talking about people getting into their second week.
Timmy, I understand that you've been without power now for a few days. How's it going out there?
Yes, it's been about 12 days to be exact. This was such a random, inevitable disaster, and 12 days without power is insane. We've gone without for such a long time. We had to throw the food out of the refrigerator on about day 3, and we just been having to maneuver.
Yeah, Timmy, I'd like to ask you, how are you getting the things you need, and what do you need to see from officials right now that you're not seeing?
Well, seeing that there's no power, the only thing we have is our phones, but we can't charge our phones unless we're in the car. And, we taking turns, it's 5 kids that live here. My lady lives here. We're taking turns charging our phones. How we've been getting by, we've been, getting takeout around it, on maybe the surrounding areas that are open. And there's been a lot of giveaways in Gary. It's been about 50 giveaways so far, so we've been taking advantage of that.
Timmy, I unfortunately have been in your situation. I grew up in Miami, and so we had storms, and for weeks we were without power. But I know that also brings water problems as well. So what's going on with water for you?
Gary is one of the most cleanest tap waters ever, but lately I've been scared to drink it because it just smells weird, and I don't want to be putting that in my body with the power outage that we have.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going on with that water right now.
There's a crisis. Flooding happened.
Oh, the tree fell.
And people aren't talking about it.
Hey, bro. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I've been in Gary my whole life, gang. Never, and when I say never, it's like the shit was planned, bro.
At what point do you stop calling this storm damage and start calling it a response problem? So let's ask the first controversial question plainly. Was Gary ignored? Now, ignored does not necessarily mean somebody sat in the office and said, forget Gary. It's not Donald Trump this time. I mean, maybe. We'll see. That's not what I'm claiming. But look at what the residents are seeing. Communities just across the state line in Illinois have recovered much faster. And people don't care nothing about excuses when you on day 9, when all your food done went bad, done spoiled. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to hear these excuses. We want this fixed. I bet y'all won't accept excuses when it's time to pay that bill.
And people aren't talking about it. And there's a clear reason why people aren't talking about it. 8 days, people have been without food, electricity, water, and I haven't seen anything on my For You page except today. And there's one video. So I looked it up.
This shit, light poles, all that shit still f***ed up.
Dang.
We by Miller. We by the lake. Don't none of us got power over here. None of us. Trees still every f***ing well.
And I made a video about it. Within 1 minute of it being posted, it was a violation. So I don't know if this video is going to get.
They was like, how y'all get power? Where y'all get power from? Be charging phones and making posts. I don't know how they work in Indiana, but I do know in some places, if your property taxes are lower, your resources for that particular town is lower. And if that's the case, which is the case in a whole lot of cities, you end up getting the short end of the stick. And what they claim is they don't have enough money to do anything, even though when it's time for money to do what they want to do, the money somehow pops up.
We have been unable to secure a hotel or a generator. And I think I'm going f***ing insane. My name's Aja, and I'm still in the dark. I know.
You had to bust out the powdered milk? Damn. I thought I'd never have powdered milk again.
A lot of people don't like to hear me curse, but things just keep getting worse and worse. We are now under a boil advisory. I was informed by someone at the sanitation district that the longer we don't have power, the less they're going to be able to basically filter and clean the water. So we need to boil everything on the stove with no power. And Carter needs hot water and food. Start. Oh, shit. Guess who's gonna have warm milk? Me and the kids are running out of clothes.
Hold on, she's boiling stuff for the cat? That cat'll be all right.
I've been trying to find a laundromat. I am supposed to go back to nursing school on Monday, and as of now, I don't know if I'll be able to do that because of the lack of regular essentials. I'm doing the best that I can. As you can see, this is Carter's favorite.
It's like a horror movie out here. We've got helicopters everywhere. The roads are parking lots. It's like we're all trying to exit town and there's no gas, no power.
She like that lady on Broad City.
Nowhere to go. We're stuck. The car is officially off. No gas. It's hot. We got all the doors open. And Admir's annoyed, so I'm going to stop updating you guys. He wants me to sit here in hot silence and just burn up and do nothing.
And now you got a woman with an attitude on your hands. Great. Now let's deal with the question everybody is going to argue about. Is this because Gary, Indiana is a black city? Gary is roughly 75% black. About a third of the city now lives below the poverty line. So when one of the most heavily black communities in the region is among the communities waiting the longest for basic services, asking, Whether race or economics played a role is not an outrageous question, but asking the question is not the same as providing an answer.
So we're just going to ignore the fact that Gary, Indiana has no power for 9 days. You guys need to realize that they can do this for the whole entire United States. So we need to take this as a serious matter. Not having power right now can be very, very dangerous, y'all. Like, limited society is member of August, and it's extremely hot. Your food is already disgusted, contaminated, and then on top of that, you don't have any power, no water, anything. They are trying to put us all under attack, y'all. This is something we need to go help Gary, Indiana, whatever it is we need to do, because this could literally be everywhere.
NIPSCO officials held meetings with public officials and community leaders throughout the day today and say the complaints are valid.
What my team heard loud and clear is that communication is needed, and we fully agree with that.
Melody Birmingham is an executive with NIPSCO parent company NiSource. She says residents in cities like Gary, Munster, and Highland will likely have to wait until next Tuesday, 2 weeks after the storm hit, for power to be restored. In Illinois, ComEd had nearly all residents back up and running within days.
There are vast differences that are system related, the impact that came through, the trees, the infrastructure, the access. That's the difference.
Birmingham says more than 80% of the 400,000 affected customers in Northwest Indiana are now back on. She says crews are assessing more than 2,000 miles of power lines, many blocked by uprooted trees. Michigan City Democratic Indiana State Representative Randy Novak says lawmakers are pressuring NIPSCO for answers.
We're going to have after actions and everything else to figure out what went wrong, what, if anything, went right, you know, what we can do to make this better, because obviously we would like to have seen it a lot faster.
Residents have now filed a proposed class action suit against NIPSCO. The accusation is basically that the company failed to adequately manage trees and vegetation around electrical infrastructure, and that some of the damage was therefore foreseeable or preventable.
All electric utilities know that downed trees and vegetation are a main cause of power outages. They also know that some tree species and vegetation grow back into the power lines very quickly, sometimes in 5 years or less. But instead of trimming the vegetation proactively on a set 5 to 7 year cycle or something similar, NIPSCO simply reacts. They react after the fact, after the damage has already been done. To give you some examples of what happens when you react and you're not proactive, this is what happens. Power lines throughout all of our communities, affecting all of our citizens and the NIPSCO customers. You will regularly see this throughout our communities. That is when vegetation management is not done. Growing not only through trees, almost into them, middle of them.
I don't know. They do have a point. And to me, that sounds like further evidence of neglect of the community. Call it what you want, black, white, or whatever, but it just happens to be 75%, 79, 85, 95 black. At one time, restoration work in Gary was temporarily stopped after a NIPSCO vehicle was struck by gunfire.
And we're also seeing some mixed messaging on this. NIPSCO said that they paused work today, but almost simultaneously, city leaders said power restoration was continuing, contradicting that claim. Now residents that we talked to feel like they are facing the consequences for someone else's bad actions.
I heard something like a big old explosion. Boom! Then I heard two more. Boom, boom!
Whether they heard it in person or saw the video online. When did you hear about that, and what did you think when you heard about it? Residents in Gary are frustrated by the shooting that may have delayed their power restoration.
But they ain't pausing when they take our money. We're the first to get cut off when anything happens. NIPSCO.
It's hurting us because of the situation, so we have to suffer until they can actually get out here and do something.
Gary police say 2 NIPSCO employees were scouting around Rutledge Street just before 1 a.m. Saturday when someone fired on this vehicle, hitting the company Jeep twice. One bullet lodged in the back of a headrest.
Was it crossfire or something? Or was somebody mad at NIPSCO? This is insane.
Investigators say the company vehicle was followed by an off-duty officer from an outside agency, but neither the employees nor the officer saw the gunman. Still, the safety concerns prompted NIPSCO to say they were pausing restoration efforts in Gary around noon.
Yeah, they was like, we don't care about y'all power.
No work has stopped.
But a video from Gary Mayor Eddie Melton posted hours later denied that pause took place.
And I don't want residents to think because of this one isolated incident that the work has stopped.
A NIPSCO communications manager told CBS News Chicago that work did resume that afternoon by 4 p.m., with the city committing to more manpower.
So we have an organized
and bulletproof vest
effort. We're actually meeting right now. We got a crew that's meeting with other people, but I don't want to give out the logistics of how those things go.
Though little consolation to the residents still waiting for their power to return.
What they're saying is hogwash, okay? You should serve everybody equally. Okay, and they probably looking at my bill right now. Yes, it's paid in full.
My answer right now is I cannot prove Gary was intentionally abandoned because it is a black city. I absolutely believe the length and severity of this outage justify asking whether Gary's race, poverty, and aging infrastructure and political influence affected how vulnerable the city was before the storm and how difficult recovery became afterwards. I don't need a conspiracy theory to say that 10 days plus without electricity in an American city is unacceptable. Tell me what you think, everybody. Was Gary simply a victim of an unprecedented storm? Was this a failure by NIPSCO? Was Gary ignored because it was poor or because it was black? Was race part of it at all? Or are people connecting dots that aren't actually connected? That's the conversation.
Oh, man. Ooh, we're failing as a people.
Some people got power and some don't. And then they talking about the mayor. But listen, he only one person. So y'all clean the damn trees up yourself. Hopefully the elder's safe. And anybody that's on medication or machine still good. And all the kids that got illnesses get well. We've been outside every night. But mom always said make sure the house clean first. Mentally, I'm peaceful. I'm healed. I'm fasting. I'm praying. And I'm appreciative of the things I now realize are privileges. And at night, I relax. It's still no power, but I got boxes on, one sock halfway off. I use my tripod to make a lamp for me while I read a book. I'm finna scroll TikTok and Instagram right now, though. Time for some sleep. Sight.
That's right. Clean that toilet and blow up that airbed. Shout out to What It Looked Like TV.
Coochie, balls, drugs, luxury vehicles. Coochie, balls, drugs, luxury vehicles. Coochie, balls, drugs, luxury vehicles. Violence, 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 violence.